G'day guys, welcome back to Supercoach with DR and welcome to the Round 11 review. Hope you all had a massive round yourself this week. Firstly, I need to give some thank yous and apologies. Some big thank yous to all of the wonderful people down there at the Northern Hospital. Really did look after me for a couple of days there. Lovely people. And a big shout out to Muhammad as well, who was a fan of the channel. And I was a little bit surprised to see me there. But shout out to you, mate. Thanks for looking after me. I really do appreciate it, buddy. And the apologies. Well, apologies particularly for butchering the stock market last week. I started off and I got through the defenders and I thought, look, I can't do any more tonight. I'll do a part 1, which would have been to the defenders. Then my plan was to do a part 2, 3 and 4 being the rucks, mids and forwards. But unfortunately just got to the point where I couldn't speak, but still managed to get all the slides together, but had to mash them all up in a quick 10 to 12 minute video just with some YouTube library studio music in the background because I don't know too much about copyrights. I just thought I need a little bit of something in there because obviously I couldn't comment on it. So apologies for that, and thank you very much for being so understanding as well. I quickly checked some of the comments, just been on Twitter for about 5 minutes, and there've been some really lovely comments there. Really do appreciate all the kind words and the support, guys. Really does mean a lot. So thank you very much. It's been a frustrating few weeks when it comes to Supercoach to me because I haven't watched many games. I've just been a little bit busy, obviously a little bit crook, and some of my decision making just hasn't quite been up to scratch. This week I think I've done pretty well in regards to my trades, but going forward, looking at that season rank, 4,685, it's not really where I want to be. And how much damage can I do towards the later start of the season, end of the season, I'm not too sure. If I can get to the top 1k, I think that'll be a pretty good achievement from here, but there's some pretty strong competition, and I don't like my chances of that, so I may have to look to do a few different moves, but I think I'm looking okay during the buys at this stage. And look, some new Dpp changes, that makes things interesting. All of a sudden, our top 6 to 8 forwards go out of the water a little bit because we get, your Bont, Baz is there, and obviously Timmy English is back in a big way as well. Didn't expect him to go off like he did. That was absolutely phenomenal. Didn't actually watch the game myself, but looking at his score, wow, he has not missed a beat, albeit against some pretty lowly opposition, but he's probably someone that I really want to have on my side. But look, I think I'm rambling here at the moment. As I said, make sure that you've got your buy structure right. I'll talk about what I'm doing over the next few weeks in regards to my trades. I think I've got them planned out, but again, about a month ago, I had some awesome trades planned out, and all my plans basically went out the window for one reason or another. But that's it for the intro, guys. Hope you're tracking a little bit better than me at the moment. Let's see how the team's actually looking. Right, so as you can currently see, 92,700 in the bank. I hope it'll be enough for me to make my trade this week. 15 trades left, and you can obviously use 3 given the fact it's a buy round, and that's not including a boost. If you've got a boost, I've obviously got none of mine left, but if you've still got a boost, you can actually make 4 trades this week if you need to. I would highly advise against it. I think you probably look to do that next week or even the week after. But look, we'll start off in defence. So look, these two blokes here, Sicily and Hewitt, if you had started with both of these selections, then surely you're at a pretty friendly rank at the moment. Sicily, 147 points. We're just waiting for this bloke to have an average sort of a game, but it's just not happening, is it? Ultra consistent, 118.5 now. What a phenomenal season from this bloke. I bought him in at about 500k and has been one of my best tradings of the year. Hewitt as well just keeps on giving, doesn't he? You can, I think I've mentioned this a couple of times, if you're looking for an ultra safe captaincy option, then this bloke will give you 110 plus every day of the week. He has not gone below 111, I think, and I think this will just continue on for the rest of the season. Can't see him having a bad game. Crispy, 97, didn't watch much of this match, so under the ton for the first time in about 7-8 weeks. I can forgive him for that. Average is almost still at 105. That's okay. Shorty, look, his role is a little bit of concern now. A little bit all over the shop, isn't he? So in the midfield, starting forward on occasions, rotating back to defence. I just want to see a little bit of consistency with his role, whether or not that's in the back line or completely through the midfield. Just give him some consistency because 85s are hurting us at the moment and it's killing me, particularly when I don't have someone like a Tommy Stewart. That's, painful at the moment. Doherty, 107. So it was a big decision for me last week, not this week, but last week, whether or not to go Doherty or Sinclair. I did play the break-even game. Doherty had the lower break-even. Sinclair's was around the 130 mark. I thought I'll grab him now, then I'll get Sinclair after the bye. but unfortunately just made the wrong decision there. 107 was okay. I think his role's slightly changed a little bit, taking a lot more of the kick-ins now. And I have noticed as well, I don't know if it was just last week, and I only did watch the first half of this match, but he seemed, when he did kick it out, to kick it long to a contest. Didn't look for that short type kick, so you get good points for that if it at least does get to a contest, if it goes at at least 50 metres. So yeah, a good, I suppose, little bonus avenue to scoring that maybe we didn't think that we had with Doherty. But 107, I did want a little bit more. I think he was on about 70 points at halftime. Paddy McCartan and Sam De Koning, I'll talk about both of these blokes. They're just giving every week, aren't they, as rookie selections? So you can't really go wrong with either of them on your field at this stage. Pretty much lock it in for a 70 to 90 type score from either one of them. So absolutely wrapped with these two blokes, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be able to keep on to Paddy McCartan for the rest of the season as coverage. It may be a little bit of a luxury. We'll see if things pan out, but that's my plan anyway at this stage. De Koning as well, just been phenomenal for us, but I think I'll flip him next week. Dacos, I wish that he actually had the first bye because I would like to flip him, but having last bye, he can cover for the first two, and he also offers some handy DPP status as well. So I'm just going to keep him for the next couple, then flip him before his bye. All right, on to the midfield. So I did have this man, Clayton Oliver, as my vice-captain this week, and at halftime, we were absolutely laughing. Here we go. And then James Aish, out of all people, shut this man down and keep him to a pretty modest score of 113. Look, at the end of the day, I couldn't have taken this score even if he had gone 170 plus, and I'll talk about why in a little bit. But yeah, disappointing because he was on track for a monster, but it's not a disaster, I suppose. Neil, so I didn't trust to have him in my captaincy loop this week. Playing the Giants, they're just so unpredictable. You don't know what they're going to do. Got so many little rabbits that they pull out of the hat in regards to tagging and pressure and all these sort of things. But 164, particularly as a Lions man myself, absolutely wrapped. I know at the start of the game, Perriman paid a little bit of attention to him, particularly during the stoppages. But look, at the end of the day, they just gave up on it, I think, because he was just dominating. And yeah, if you had him as your captain, thumbs up, well done. McRae, this is a little bit concerning now, 102, but look, we've all got him. He's 600k. We're not trading him out of our sides. We just got to ride the wave, I think. And the frustrating thing, as I mentioned before, I haven't watched much footy in the last few weeks, so is it due to role? Is it due to Bevo? Is he just underperforming at the moment? A little bit out of touch? I'm really not too sure. So yeah, let me know in the comment section if you can. Give us a little bit of feedback on this pick, because I'd be interested to know about your thoughts. In no way, shape or form am I trading this bloke. The week that you trade Jack McRae, he'll bang out of 160. I can almost guarantee it. So yeah, I'm not interested in trading him, but I would be interested in hearing a little bit about what you think's been going on anyway the last couple of weeks with him, because I just don't trust him in my captaincy loop anymore. Miller, 109. Yeah, we'll take that. That's okay, particularly after a disastrous last week. Track, man, this is frustrating. News came out after the game that it was actually crook as a dog going into the match, so why not just rest him? Melbourne are a top side. They've got that much depth. Why not trial another player through the middle? I know they'd end up losing the game, and Freo are a pretty solid side at the moment, but yeah, come on, Goody. Just rest him, mate. If he had been rested, I would have taken McComb's score or Clark's score. I would have been at least 10 points at a minimum better off there. As non-owner now, you can pick him up pretty cheaply after his round 14 bye if you're looking for that M8 slot to fill. Yeah, just not good news for owners. Pretty unfortunate, that one there. Now, this was fortunate, and this was one trade that I did make this week. Mr. Jack Sinclair. So I did mention before that it was out of him and Doherty a week ago. I made the wrong choice, and after his performance last week, I thought, you've got to bring him in. It's not ideal because he's obviously got the upcoming bye, but I'm playing the break-even game again, and I don't want to have to pay around $550 for him. He's end up at $562, so probably 10k dearer than what I expected. I was hoping for around a 115 to 120. I thought that would be outstanding, but the fact that he got a 140 was just great. I did actually watch a fair bit of this match, and he just seagulled a lot of the time. Lots of uncontested possessions. I think he had 10 touches in the first quarter, maybe over-exaggerating, 8 to 10, I think. And he was at 100% efficiency. Great kick-to-handball ratio. Definitely prefers to kick the ball. And also very effective. That efficiency did dwindle a little bit, particularly in the second half. but for the large majority of the time, he'll use the ball well. Good kick inside 50. He's quick, couple of running bounces. Loves a 1-2, just a perfect selection with his role at this stage, and I don't think that role will change. The only issue that I've got with the pick is the fact that surely in the form that he's in, particularly what he's done in the last couple of weeks, that they've got to start to put a little bit of forward pressure on him, I think, and surely he can't go around getting easy ball like that every week, because he's really, really damaging, as is Brad Hill at the moment. They're a really good combo, Sinclair and Hill, so we're up that I brought him in, but it was at the expense of Nick Martin, which meant that I did need to field a pretty dodgy rookie this week, and we'll get to him in the forward line. Cripper, not a great first quarter. Only watched the first half, remember, this match, but kicked a goal in the second. Obviously, his second half must have been pretty solid, so that's okay. Bray Shaw, I felt like he was a little bit underscored for what I saw him do. Had a big third quarter, but 100 points at the end of the day. Look, he's going to be my M8, 112.9 average. Is okay. I haven't got him at 112 average. I've got him at under 100 average. I've only owned him for a couple of weeks now. But look, I knew with the pick that he wasn't going to be a top 8 midfielder, but I was hoping for maybe someone on the borderline of top 12 with a round 12 buy. With a round 14 buy at a pretty decent price, and he was a man at the time. So I don't love the pick, but maybe a luxury upgrade if if a miracle happens and I've got enough trades. McComb, he's been gifted DPP status, which is actually going to be really handy, I think, for us. But my plan is to just trade him out next week anyway, so it's not going to come in overly handy for myself. But if you are planning on holding him, and if you can manage to do that, then that's really good. I think he can provide decent cover. Clarkey, good to see him bounce back after a couple of 50-odd scores with the 72. My plan is to hold him for the rest of the year, and again, I think he'll provide really good cover in the midfield. Carroll, this is a bit of a disaster, so back to my captaincy originally. So Carroll was a loop that I had on field, so originally I thought, look, I'll have Carroll on and then Cripps as my emergency, but I thought at the end of the day it's a little bit dodgy because there's a high chance he'll be the sub, and if that was the case, worst case scenario, I would have just had to chuck the captaincy on Cripper, but end up deciding against that and just going with big Jared Witts in the ruck. And look, I wanted a 130 plus, particularly against, Kaczynski that he faced in the ruck, but conditions are a little bit tough for big men there. Nowhere near as many ruck contests as what we saw last week. So a 119, I suppose, is still okay, Is he going to be our R1? Well, it's going to be out of him, Gawn, and Darcy. I reckon it would be Big Shrek personally from here, just due to his ceiling. But the issue is, will he manage to stay on the park? That's a big question with him. But Witsy, good as a captain score, because I've been butchering it this season after being in the top 40 for overall captain points last year. Absolutely nailed it last year. Just, done an absolute flip this year. I've done the complete opposite, which is a little bit unfortunate. Hazy in the ruck, so another big shout out to Muhammad down there at the Northern. Came in and delivered the news that maybe Hazy won't get up this week, and sent a few shockwaves, I'd imagine, throughout the community. But he managed to get up. It was a 61. It's okay. Would have loved an 80, but it is what it is. I'll take it over a donut. And this really hurts. So, you talk about future planning and future trading. So my plan was for Bruce at this stage to be at around 500k. That's what he was projected to be at, with some scores that I think were just below his average. So it was looking all safe and rosy. He obviously has the virus, misses the previous week, and then this week plays in the VFL, and Flynn gets a nod over him. So just super, super frustrating. And I don't know if I'll be able to make the trade that I want. Originally, I was looking to go up to Shrek Darcy. That's completely out of the question, I think, now, unless I use another trade. And the other bloke that I'm looking to bring in, Max Gawn, will I be able to do it this week? I'm not too sure. It's going to be within 5 to 10k, so I suppose you'll be able to see my live reaction for that one there. Onto the forward line. So Dunkley, 143. We've all got him. Super pick, 116.5 average now. Wish I had him in the captain's loop. Brody, 105. We say it each week here. We're on repeat, aren't we? An awesome selection. Made us a heap of cash. It's over 300k now. Well over 300k. Our only concern is what happens when 5 comes into the side. We're pretty much on repeat with the pick, aren't we? But until 5 comes in, I'm a very, very happy owner. Going to be really interesting to see how the dynamics shift when he does re-enter the side, though. Parker's been a great selection for me, 116. I think he's a top 6 forward. No worries at all there. Butters is back in form, 3 tons on the trot. They haven't been huge tons, but given the fact he was giving us some 50s, this is very, very pleasing. So if you trade him out, you're probably a little bit disappointed depending on who you actually brought in. But I'm a pretty happy owner at this stage, and I think I'll probably just ride him until the end of the season, which isn't ideal, but I don't think I'll have the luxury to be able to upgrade him. Hopefully I'll have the luxury to upgrade this bloke. He's been super disappointing. You know, Brownlow medal contention after the first few weeks. Couldn't miss. Kicking accurately. Impacting the game. So dynamic. So dangerous. And then he's absolutely fallen off a cliff, you know. He's out of form. He doesn't have the role that we wanted to see. He has been gifted DPP status, so I suppose he's spent enough time in the midfield to be given that. But there's just nothing that I really like about this pick at the moment. I think a big thing is his accuracy. He just couldn't miss at the start of the year, but now he just cannot for the life of him seem to get one through the big sticks. He obviously scored that goal on the weekend. A few non-Heaney owners, I'm sure, would have been a little bit spewing with that when he was gifted that 50 and scaled pretty well for the goal. But remember at the same time earlier on the match that he was going to line up for goal, and then bloody, who was he? Sam Wicks, I think it was, you know, knocked over whoever it was and got it reversed. So you win some, you lose some, I suppose. But we are losing at the moment as Heaney owners, and this is not good. This is not good. Still averaging 100 on the season. But I, for one, didn't start with him. I bought him in before the first price rise, so I did miss those 2 massive scores. So I'm certainly not getting this average of 100.9. I'm definitely closer to the 90 mark, I think, or in the 90s anyway at this stage. And then we get to this decision here. And of course, I made the wrong one at the end of the day. So it was between Rioli, Rosas, and McDonald. And this was the downside of bringing in Sinclair for Martin this week, because I knew that I had to field one of these blokes unless I went early on Ware from GWS. And that way I could have, I was going to trade Rosas out, bring De Koning up, and then field him. But I thought, no, look, Rosas, I think he's still got a little bit of money to make. He can cover for me for that first buy. Then I'll look to flip him. I'm just going to take the risk for now. And what was the method to the madness here, choosing Rioli? Well, first of all, I knocked out Connor McDonald because I looked at Rioli's score, and apart from that terrible 7, the other 3 were all higher than McDonald's season highest. So I thought, well, got a 3 in 4 chance it's going to be better than McDonald. Okay, Rioli over McDonald. Then it was Rioli versus Rosas, and I thought, well, Rosas probably has the easier opposition here. Has scored a couple of 70s, but yeah, just hasn't been impacting the game too much. You know, had a good end to last week, had a nice last quarter, but apart from that, yeah, hasn't been too solid. So I thought with Rioli, well, he's got the highest ceiling. We've seen a 90 from him. You know, it's John Nichols round. You know, he was playing Sydney, which was always a little bit dicey, particularly up there, but I thought the Tigers may give him a pretty good showing. In the end, I just lost out. So 36, 64, 52. That's always handy. It's a few points, isn't it? 36 to 64. It doesn't seem like much, but when you're looking at the overall rankings and, you know, the teams that are, you know, just a few spots ahead of you, it's within the matter of 1 to 2 points sometimes. So it does make a big difference, just like your captaincy does. So if you had Neil this week, for example, you would have been absolutely wrapped over someone like a Witts. But again, not complaining. So, all right, that's a team. What we'll do now is we'll take a look at a couple of things. We'll take a look at how I'm going during the buys, talk a little bit about buy structure. Then I'll talk about the trades that I'm looking to make this week. And then we'll finish off with my future trades, who I'm looking to finish my side with, and who I'm actually looking to trade out and trade in. I've got a bit of a plan happening, but again, it'll most likely go out the bloody window. So, just a quick tip for anyone, and I think this is obvious, you can see there, but for anyone that's new to Supercoach, obviously it's the top 18 scorers this week. So if you've got 20 on field, for example, they'll only count the top 18. But the more you've got available, yeah, the better it is, because you can drop off a couple of those dud scores if you've got a couple, and I'm sure that we'll all have at least 1 or 2. So the blue dots mean that they're not available this week. So, all right, out goes Hewitt, in goes Mr. Dacos. Okay, we'll get Doherty out, De Koning on. So that means that, sorry, and I'll zoom out a little bit here as well. So that means that I'm just 1 down there at the moment. Cripper, I'll swap out for McComb. Sinclair will get off for Clark. So I think we're all, yep, we're all sweet there. in the mid, so currently 1 down in the backs. Now, this is where I want to make a trade this week. Oh, fingers crossed I can do it. I got a feeling I won't be able to. But currently, as things stand, 1 down there. And then it's just a matter of swapping off Butters for Roses. Rioli comes off. McDonald comes on. This is why I kept on to Connor McDonald, because I thought there'd be good coverage for the buys, and surely he plays this week. I think Sammy Mitchell's a fan of him. So at this stage, without trades or before trades, I'm 1 down the rucks and 1 down in my defensive line. If I go to the next round quickly, so 13, this is where a few teams start to find themselves in a little bit of trouble. You can see here that I'm all sweet down back. These 2 blokes come on, so full complement there. In the midfield, things a little bit dicey at this stage, so Sinclair and Cripps, bang, bang. So as things stand, I'll be 2 down in the midfield, because I'm not going to count Carroll. Maybe 1 down if he gets a gig, I'm not too sure. Currently in the rucks, this is if Bruce plays. Now, I'm really not sure about his job security. Surely he's got to come back, but you know, we can't predict this moving forward, but he'll most likely be traded out at this stage, I think, for another bloke that will be playing anyway. So I should be right there, none down. So only 2 down so far, worst case scenario. And I should have an upgrade here by now anyway. And then 1, 2, 1, 2. So not looking ideal, but my plan is to have 2 or 3 upgrades here anyway. So I should be sweet there. And then round 14, I think it's all good. Okay, so 1 down in the defensive line, but Dacos be gone. Sinclair will go back there. Bring Cripper on. Yes, 2 come on there. Should be all sweet in the rucks. So he comes on 1, 2, 3. A little bit of a concern here, but by that stage, I think I should be okay. So that's pretty much how my buys are looking. So pretty good at this stage. I'm really happy with how it's looking. On to my trades. Alright, now please, please, please. This is where it really hurts. Bruce not playing this week. Jeez, I was counting on him. Come on. Supercoach gods. Be kind to be friendly. 549. 552. I knew it. I knew it. Yeah, that hurts. 2,800, so what the bad man score? Oh man, that's a matter of what, 10 points, around 10 points. Oh, that really hurts, because I just wanted to make that trade this week. I didn't want to have to bring in any rookies, because I don't think that there are any decent ones actually available. Do I want to make this trade? Alright, so if I don't make this trade, pretty much won't get Gorn or Darcy. Oh, originally I wanted to get Darcy, but I knew that I wouldn't have the money. I knew it wouldn't be that crazy. If Bruce had played the last couple of weeks, I probably would have. But as things stand, do I really need Gorn in? I probably do want him in. Just not sure what's happening with Prusy. I don't really need Gorn this week for my buys, because I think I can cover well enough. But yeah, it's my plan to get him in. Alright, so what this means now, I'm going to have to look to trade someone else out. Alright, so Dacos I'm keeping, and premiums. Okay, so there's nothing I can do there. Okay, keepers. Keeper, not trading this week, not trading at all, hopefully. Keeper. Carroll, who's at 171k. I don't want to trade him out. Okay, Wits, Hayes. I'm pretty keen to keep on to Hayes for now. I could cash him in. If I do, there's no one really to go to that's playing. Nah. Okay, Dunkley, Barker, Nut, Heaney. Roses has a lowish break even. He'll make money that I can flip him next week. It's in my plans to flip him next week. McDonald. No, I want to keep on to him. I've kept on to him all this time so we can cover during the buys. I'm not going to trade him before the buys. And then Rioli. So who's it come down to if I do it this week? It's got to be either Carroll or Rioli. I'm not going to do anything funky with Heaney. That's just not the right move at this stage. Who do I want out of Carroll and Rioli? It's Rioli. I rate his job security. He's got DPP. I think he'll be playing during the buys. I think they like what he brings to the table. Oh, man. And who am I even going to bring in? This is absolutely on the fly. I was hoping that I could get Gawn in just with the one trade. Alright, now depending, I might even be able to get Darcy in instead. Alright, so who we got here? Aaron Black, no. Hamilton, no. Owens, I want to get next week. Saligo's too much. No. So, no. Sam Butler. What's he been doing? So, he was on the bubble last week. 136,800. Midfield DPP. Last buy. So, he would cover for the next two. I don't necessarily need him covering this week. Next week will be handy though, because I'm a little bit down. I'm also down though. I don't know, round 14. Because I'm bringing in 2 round 14 players, which isn't ideal for 2 players that are not playing this week that I don't necessarily need covered. So I don't know if this is the right play or not. I really need Butler covering next week more than anything. Okay, so Cooper Stevens, nah. Edwards, never. I don't trust Chris Scott, no way. He's not playing. Nah. Cunningham, nah. Okay, so it's looking like now I'm sort of bottom of the barrel type stuff. Oh, Jared Berry, my man. I reckon it was his best game of his career on a wing there. Mate, huge shout out to my man Bez. Legend. Love him. Been a frustrating pick, I know, for some. Jed Anderson's got a break even of 5. Could I? Nah, I'd be irresponsible. Do you know what a move is? This could be a move. Nah, it's crazy, isn't it? Trading back in. I don't think I'm crazy enough to do this. Man, that's dicey, isn't it? But he has the potential with a break even of 5. He went 144 last week playing Gold Coast. Let's say he goes a hunch. 95 over the break even, that's 45. He's got the potential to make 50k in a week if he goes around the ton. But I don't want to make this move. Puts my upgrade cycle back a little bit, doesn't it? But do I just treat Anderson as a cash cow for 2 weeks? Bring in Butler for Carroll. Ugh. 13 trades left. So if I do this, I've got 13 trades left. And I now need to upgrade probably 1, 2 in my forward line and 1 in the midfield. Oh, look. I'll need to make a pod move, don't I? Would I be crazy enough? Probably not. I tell you what, though, it's tempting. It's tempting. All right. Let's say I go back to Carroll, though. So I think that the sensible move, and I don't even know if this is a sensible move or not, maybe just a bit of a waste, but I think the move may be this week to do something like that. Although Heaney will go down in price, won't he? They're playing Melbourne this week. Damn, that could be a crazy move to Anderson. I don't know. Alright, so let's just say that I do that. Alright, I'll quickly take a look just quickly at my buy structure again, and then I'll talk about my future trades, exactly almost who I'm looking to trade out and trade in. So, alright, so round 12. So I've bought in 2 players, haven't I? So I'm going to be stacked here, am I? Short, okay, so... Yep, I've got 1 there, but I can't actually... That's frustrating. See, he's of no use to me this week, Butler. That's why I didn't want to make a trade this week. Just wasn't worth my while. But in order to get going, I have to. So, I'm full to the brim, aren't I? Apart from 1 spot. So I'm, 21? So I'm obviously hurting. Doesn't change my round 13 plans because I bought in 2 rounds. So round 14, I must be hurting a little bit. So I've covered there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's handy. And I'll have Macomb, who's in my plans to trade out by now, and have another premium here. So I should be full. Damn, round 14 must be looking shaky. And then 2 down. So basically 2 down. Okay, 2 down. That's all good. Alright, so round 14, I've just invested 2 players into this buy. So I'll be 1 down there. You've got your Sinclair and your Cripps that come in 1, 2. And mind you, some of these players will be out, but they won't be out for round 14 by players. So 1, 2. I'll be 2 down there. 1 down there. So that's a little bit dicey, but Dacos will be upgraded. Rucks should be right because I'm planning on holding Hayes up until now. And then forward. So actually that's actually looking okay. I'm still happy with that. I'm still happy. Alright, so we'll clear the buys and talk about my future trades. So basically what I need to do is I need to get in a midfielder, and well, if I get going now, it's pretty much a midfielder and a forward at an absolute minimum. Maybe 2 forwards. Ideally it's going to be 2 forwards, but let's just work on the fact that, you know, I'm going to keep on to Butters and Heaney, and then so I'll get my best sort of team on the field at the moment. Let's just work on the fact that I'm going to keep these 2 and upgrade here. Obviously, I've got the 2 big boys there. Clark will come on. Off. Cripps there. We'll get McCartan. And I'm keeping on to McCartan, hopefully, with these trades, as you'll see in a minute. Sorry, you probably lost interest by now, but you may be interested to know what I'm looking to do anyway. So that's going to be all full there. So I'm good for my defensive line. I need 1 upgrade there. So let's just say Dacos is a higher priced player. Look at it that way. I'm all good here. And then this is dicey as, but yeah, after the buys, well, yeah, before the buys are finished, this hopefully will be upgraded in round 14. So I need 1 spot there. 1 spot there, basically. So, with the cash I've got in the bank, which is bugger all basically, I'm going to need to use 3 trades in the next 2 weeks. That'll take me down to, what, 7? And then, if I've got the luxury to do so, I can use another couple of trades to get a Heaney or a Butters up to one of the Dogs players. But at this stage, what I'm looking to do next week is I'll get out, I might just go out a little bit more here so you can see the team a little bit better. So what I'm looking to do next week is trade out De Koning, who has been an absolute soldier for me this season, and shout out to you, mate. Thank you very, very much. I'm going to trade out De Koning for Ware from GWS, and this is assuming he gets a game. And this is what I mean. Your best laid plans can go completely out the window with team selections, injuries, COVID, etc., etc. But this is best case scenario, what I'm looking to do. So Ware comes in for De Koning. I'm making a fair bit of cash there, which is really, really nice. I'll then look to trade out Roses. He'll make a little bit of coin, hopefully, with a 20 break even. If he can even get a 50 type score, then that's around another 15k. That'd be nice. He can go up a little bit. So I'll look to trade out Roses and bring Butler into my forward line, because remember, I've got Parker, Heaney, and Dunkley who'll all be missing that round as well. So I'm a little bit light in the forward lines, particularly during that bye round. So he'll come out. And then I'm going to upgrade Macomb. So we go Ware. We use DPP to bring Butler up, Roses down, and I'm looking to bring Owens in. I think he's got good short-term job security and really, really impressive over the weekend. I'm pretty confident that he'll play and he'll be able to cover for the next 2 buys. With where I'm not too sure. I'm not even sure how to pronounce his name properly, to be quite honest. I could be butchering it. But that's a plan there. So rookie with DPP. And then McComb, I'm looking to upgrade to one of 2 players. And that's going to be, and I'm going to need to really think about this and think about it carefully, take a lot of things into consideration. It's either going to be Sam Walsh or Darcy Parish. So basically what I'm looking to do is target 2 cheap rookies that are coming off their bye, as well as upgrading to an Uber-type premium that's coming off their bye as well. And I think that Parish and Walsh are probably the 2 best options to take a look at. I've been a fan of both over the last few weeks. So that's the plan for next week. Will I be able to do it with cash? I hope so. And that's another reason why I can actually take I can actually take Shrek Darcy 31k. Yeah, I can. I can actually take Darcy this week over Gawn, which I'd really like to do. But if it's going to hinder my future upgrades, and, we saw what a little bit of cash can do. 2,800 this week prevented me from doing just a nice, simple trade that I wanted to do. So, yeah, it can make a big difference. And this is why I do take break-evens into high consideration. And then, okay, so the week after that, then what I'll look to do is trade out McDonald, Dacos, and I think what I'll look to do is possibly Sam Hayes, which I'm not a fan of, but I think I can manage to do this. And this is where it gets a little bit dicey, but there's method behind the madness. I'm basically looking to bring in 2 loopholes, all right, which sounds nuts, You're getting low on trades. We need every player in our pine actually playing. What on earth are you thinking? All right, but hear me out, okay? So what would happen is this. So, and at this stage, remember, I've got, let's just say, Parish here in the midfield. I'm looking to upgrade 1 spot here. So out would go McDonald, and in would come a defensive forward loop. And the reason why I'm doing that is because, remember, I'm planning on holding Mr. Paddy McCartan, who I think is the ultimate coverage. And if I can have him, a player like him, covering on both lines for the remainder of the year, I think that's absolutely fantastic. So I think that I can afford to have that loop there, given the fact I can swing McCartan in, and I'm also planning on holding Rioli. And I think Dimmer likes what he brings to the side, particularly with that defensive pressure. The way he sprints, from contest to contest, and particularly when he's manning the marks, really effective doing that as well, and really slows up their ball movement, the opposition's ball movement. So I like his prospects moving forward, but scoring obviously is going to be very sporadic, I think, particularly with the role that he plays. So I think I can afford to just bring a loop in there, to loop with McCartan, etc. And then Sam Hayes. I think I'm going to bring in Strandika. The reason for that is obviously he's at 102k. He plays for West Coast, so I think he plays a lot of those Sunday type games, later on the week, on the weekend. And he's got that DPP status as well. So by bringing in a loop here and a loop here, this loop, I'm still getting nice coverage here. And with Rioli, who knows, will I have a defensive foot? I may. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got good coverage for the forwards here. Obviously, no coverage here in the rucks, unless he gets a game, and there's a chance that he might. But then the idea would be, in the same week, to bring in Tim English as well. And that would be at the expense of Dacos, McDonald, and Hayes, as I said. So, DPP, would be used a little bit here. But Strandika, another defensive loop, forward loop here. And then we'd have big Timmy English. And that way English can actually cover for the rucks as well. Then when English needs to cover there, hopefully he doesn't need to, but if he needs to, one of these blokes comes on, even a McCartan comes on, which is all good. So that's probably my plans when it comes to my future upgrades. And if all things go well, there's no injuries, no carnage, and everything goes as I want it to, I'll be left with 7 trades. And, what do I do from there? Well, hopefully it'll be one of these blokes, ideally, up to either a Baz or a Bond. But I think it's important to get English in, particularly for that ruck cover. And the frustrating thing is, given the fact that I'm looking to bring English in, I would love to take the chance on Sean Darcy, because I wouldn't be comfortable bringing in Darcy without some sort of cover, whether or not you're keeping Hayes for the rest of the season, or you've got someone like an English there with a loop lock I'm planning to do. Another option for me could be just to keep Hayes there as that coverage, but if I'm choosing between Hayes and McCartan, I'd much rather McCartan, because he can cover between two lines and cover, 16, 15 other players. Hayes can only cover two players, and, will I actually need him too often? I'm not too sure, and I hope not. So, they're basically my future plans. So, in short, defence, all complete. This spot here where Dacos is at will either be Parrish or Walsh, ideally, and this slot here will be Tim English, and one of these two spots, ideally, as a luxury, will be one of the Dogs players, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to get there. But the way that I see it, it'll be a pretty solid team, lacking a little bit in the forward line, but what I'm really happy that I'll hopefully be able to do is keep McCartan as coverage. Clark's going to be really solid coverage for the rest of the year, and have Rioli here. Not great, but okay. But Tim English as well, being able to cover for the rucks if I need it. So that is the team as it currently sits. That's how I'm looking during the buys. And hopefully I've described how my team's going to finish up like. But look, I'm expecting carnage. These things never end up going right. Something will happen, I'm sure. Let's just wait and see what that actually is. But that's it for now, guys. As I said, thank you so much for all your kind wishes during the week. It honestly really does mean a lot to me. Really appreciate the support. And I'll see you soon in the stocking. Remember, it's going to be a big one this week, talking about those players, particularly that do not have the bye. So talking about those round 13, round 14 bye players, and taking a deep look into those players that have been gifted DPP status. May change our sides, I think, a fair bit, particularly in the forward line. So that's it for now, guys. Take care. All the best. I'll see you soon. Bye.